Hi everybody. I'm sorry it's been so long that I have made a video. Just life kind of got crazy, I kind of got lazy, and here we are today. Anyway, getting right to the point, I figured that it was time to make a video that breaks everything down to the basics. I know someone who's very near and dear to my heart who is asking me some pretty simple questions for those of us who are advanced in the TTC world. And I realized that we kind of leave the newbies in the dust when it comes to talking about cycles and fertility and all of our little logos that we have, you know. So I think that this video is just going to be all about summing it up for those who are just entering into the TTC or trying to conceive world. So I'm going to start with the pretty basics. Let's start with your cycle. On an average cycle, you have about 28 days. And in my brain, this is how I break it up. You have about 14 days before you hit your ovulation day. Then from ovulation day on, you have about another 14 days until your first day of your next period. So from the very first day of your period to your ovulation day should be about 14 days. And then from that day till the end of your cycle, which would be the first day of your next period, would be another 14 days. So you have a window before your ovulation of just kind of going through your cycle, getting your period done, however many days long that is. So let's go about 4, because I think that's about average. So about 4 days, and then you have, I'd say probably what I tell everybody, up until their 12th day into their cycle. So from the first day you get your period, count 12 days out, and then that is when you technically begin to enter into your fertile phase. So you have where you need to start paying attention to the signs that your body's setting off. So you could have, we're going to get TMI here, so if you're squirmish, you might want to turn this off. You're going to have cervical mucus that's going to be a little bit more wet than normal. You're going to have, it's going to be more like egg yolk, and it's definitely going to be tacky, or not tacky, it's going to be gooier in between your fingers if you are somebody who that is going to start checking your cervix, which, by the way, everybody, let's get this out there. Checking your cervix for yourself to know your fertility days is not abnormal, okay? Most women want to know what's going on with their body. Most women who aren't prude will be willing to do this. So let's put that right out on the side and let's just go there, okay? It's your body. Feel empowered to know what's going on, okay? So everybody has a cervix. That's a female. And you will want to know all the cycles that go through it. So your cervix is inside of your vagina, and that is the opening to your uterus. So this is going to tell you what is going on. If you're letting out cervical mucus and it is gooey and it is wet, those are really great signs that you're entering into your fertile stages. Now, someone like me, I get something called Mittelschmerz, which is the devil. I personally don't have to use any sort of ovulation tests, which are fun anyway because there's something to pee on. I mean, let's get real. If you're peeing on something, you're having a good time. So anyway, I don't have to use those because I get severe pains in my side. Wretched, awful, debilitating pains. I'm not even kidding. They are equivalent to the beginning stages of labor for me. No joke. I don't know why. We've tried all the different tests to figure out. I know I've got a few things going on inside of me, but that apparently is just something that my body does. It likes to make me feel like a chicken and I'm going to lay an egg at any point in time. So I feel lots of pain, lots of cramping. Almost kind of feels like maybe I would have like an appendicitis or a kidney infection, something like that. But it's always right around my fertile time, so I know exactly when that is. I'll get tired, I'll get bloated. Those are all signs, believe it or not, of ovulation. They kind of mimic what you would have if you were going to be right before you start your period. So around day 12, you're going to want to start, as we call it in the TTC world, BDing or baby dancing, or you're going to want to start having sex with your partner, and you're going to want to make sure you're paying attention to what days you're having sex. So you could start on day 12, and then some people like to skip every other day because they say that if men ejaculate too much, then they're losing their sperm, and so the next day they have less men that are ready to go and find that egg. And so some people like to wait, and they say that it builds up and it allows them to have more of a sperm count, which gives them more of a shot. Another thing about sperm count is it will technically stay in your body for 3 days, alive and well. So they say that a female sperm will last longer inside of a woman's body than what a male sperm will. It tends to be more of a slow swimmer. It takes its time getting there, and it has a longer lifespan. Now, a male sperm is a faster swimmer, but it dies out quicker. So if you desire to try and have a girl, you might want to try having sex earlier in your fertile days, because then your female swimmers will take longer to get there. Now, that also kind of diminishes your chances of getting pregnant if you choose to only have sex in the beginning part of your fertility phase, because then you're not really giving yourself as many days. If you want to have a boy, you might not want to have sex earlier on in your fertile days, because then your faster swimmers will get there and your female swimmers will take longer to achieve the egg. I hope I'm not confusing you. Otherwise, if you're just trying to have a baby, then go for it. From day 12, I recommend to day 16, because sometimes you may ovulate a little bit later. Again, this is off of a normal 28-day cycle. Day 14 is usually your ovulation day, and once you have ovulated, that's it. You're not fertile anymore. Even if it's day 15, if you have absolutely ovulated on day 14, day 15, you're not going to get pregnant. But you don't know for sure if you ovulate exactly on day 14, so I always say go for up to day 16, just to give it all you got. Plus, it's fun. Let's get real. So anyway, now we have passed our fertile stages, and here we enter into the dreaded 2-week wait, where all you could do is dream about, think about, talk about, and calculate all of your chances of, are you pregnant? Did you catch that egg? And really, the only thing that I can recommend is get a good friend who you're willing to spill it all out on the line with, because otherwise you will make yourself or your husband's absolutely crazy, because you will just be thinking about it. Now, in this time, you could do a lot of couponing and looking for great deals on pregnancy tests, because if you're anything like me, you are going to want to test and test and test some more. They have some really great online buys with your little cheapy test strips that you could buy, and you could get them in bundles, but they're not all that wonderful. I used to love them to death, but now they give off lines to everybody. So everybody and their mom is pregnant, apparently, according to their tests. But we're finding out a lot of other tests are kind of coming up wonky too. The only definite thing is that if you are late and you get a very dark line, and then you go and you get a blood test done, that's a 100% yes, you're pregnant. Otherwise, it's just fun to test and to kind of kill the time. You could start testing technically on 8 days past ovulation. So once you have hit ovulation, you have now entered that 14-day post. Okay, up until this part, we're counting cycle days. I mean, the whole thing goes into cycle days. But if you're trying to conceive, from the first day of your period up until ovulation is when we start talking cycle days. Then from ovulation up until when you should be having your period is when we start talking days past ovulation, otherwise known in the TTC world as DPO. So the first day, day 15, if you have absolutely ovulated on the 14th, day 15 would be 1 DPO, or 1 day past ovulation. So you're going to count all the way up those rest of those 14 days. So from the day of ovulation, now you're on day 1, and you keep on going over up until day 8 is when you could technically start testing for fun. Now, I have known a few people who have gotten a very faint line on their pregnancy test, and then of course you have to keep on testing, and that's a lot of fun for a lot of us. I know some people who have incredible willpower, and I think that they might be aliens from another planet, because I can't find that willpower, who actually wait until the day they're late. Anyway, we're going to talk about people that I know and I can relate with, and that is the people who start testing on day 8. 8 DPO. We are going to start taking out those tests first thing in the morning. Ladies, we're talking first thing in the morning. You have held onto that urine all night long, built up your HCG, which is your pregnancy hormone. If you are, in fact, pregnant, it will be the highest it is in the morning. So I know some people have better tests in the evening, and that's technically because a whole entire day has gone by and their HCG has built up in their day, because every day you get higher HCG if you, in fact, you are pregnant. It's supposed to double every 2 days. So if you want to get your best chance, if you're testing early, I say to test very first morning urine, because you have held it all night long. You're probably going to get a great, very, very faint line on 8 DPO. But that doesn't mean if you get a negative that you're out yet. You could just have implanted late. So now if you have achieved pregnancy, which you probably won't know yet, the little thing about that is that when the sperm meets the egg, it takes about 3 days to reach all the way, travel all the way in, bury itself in, and reach the spot that it's going to attach itself into your uterus. So it's not like you become pregnant just like that, you know, like all of a sudden. I mean, technically, sperm meets egg, you are pregnant and it starts traveling through, but you won't have any symptoms until maybe about, I think it's 8 days past ovulation, which right around the time that you should be starting to test, is that you could start seeing what people might call implantation. And you might just get implantation spotting. When you might wipe, you might see some blood. Some people actually, and I don't really know how, because I've never met anybody who has had a implantation spotting that's been heavy enough to been considered a period, but maybe some people have extremely light periods that I'm not aware of, because that's not in my world. But you can easily have some spotting, some show around, I think the earliest I've ever heard anybody say it was about 6 days past ovulation, and is usually as frequent around 8 days past ovulation. So those are all great signs. But don't worry, if you don't ever get implantation spotting, that doesn't mean anything, because I've only had it once out of all of my pregnancies. So it didn't mean I wasn't pregnant. And so at around 8 days past ovulation, you could start your testing. Now, if you are a lucky person who gets a very faint line, take a picture and send it to me. Otherwise, you could share it with anybody else, or you get to enjoy taking all the different tests and having fun with that, and figuring out really awesome ways to surprise your husband with a great way to tell him that he's going to be a daddy. So this is all of your fun creativity time. You could easily not get a positive pregnancy test as early as 8 DPO. That's why I know some people don't like to start testing that early, because it starts messing with them and they start, you know, obsessing and get like upset, and then they throw in the towel, only to find out that in a couple of days they test again and then they got their BFP, or big fat positive, which is your 2 red lines or 2 blue lines if you're a blue dye tester, which I don't recommend, because they always seem to come up with a line, a second line for me and a lot of people that I know. Sorry. So anyway, if you then continue to test and you don't get a positive line, you are not out until you have passed your day that you're supposed to begin your period. And if you haven't received your period at that point in time, you can keep on testing, and then you could always go whether you get a positive sign or you don't and you're just late, or you just don't know what's going on. You could ask to get blood work done, and that's called a beta test, and they have different kinds, and they have ones where they could actually tell you how much of the pregnancy hormone is in your body. If you're at a 0, obviously you're not pregnant, but believe it or not, they consider anything less than a 4. So even if you have a 4, HCG level of 4 in your body or below, they don't consider you pregnant. So you will then go in and get a blood work done. Not everybody does this. Not every OB or midwife likes to do this, but some or most do. And you go in, they will draw your blood, and they can either give you a yes or a no response, or they could draw it and tell you this is what your level is. You usually have to wait like a day to get your level number back, which is like torturous and almost worse than 2-week wait. And then sometimes they like to have you come back again in 2 days, because remember, like I said, every 2 days your HCG number should double. So then you would have a number based upon when you first went in, and then in 2 days you go back and you get your blood drawn again, and then if it has doubled, then it will confirm pregnancy. But above and beyond all of this, the whole entire thing is fantastic and fun and exciting and nerve-wracking and emotional. So just remember to have fun, remember to enjoy everything, remember to document everything, because you'll never ever forget that. That's so awesome to have you look back and it's like reminiscing over all of the things that, you know, those emotions that you were feeling in the times when you were trying, and now you get to look at that child and you're like, I remember that time, and it's so sweet and it's so sentimental. And remember to share it with your husband. He may not show as many exciting moments in the whole entire thing that you do, but deep down, it's exciting for him. So if you have any other questions, feel free to write me, comment, message me. I'm on Facebook too. I know a lot of you like to message me on there too. So if you have any questions, if you have anything that I haven't covered on here, I would love to answer any of the TTC or trying to conceive questions that you have, and I'll make another video up. Alright, well, hopefully it won't take as long to produce another video after this, but I can't make any promises because I am kind of scatterbrained. So alright, anyway, I miss everybody, and thanks for sticking around if you guys have still stuck around and subscribed. And if you are a new watcher, please make sure that you subscribe, thumbs up, and always leave a comment. Alright,